Okay, so let's get started. Um, Today's development stream is going to be very experimental. I don't believe anyone's ever attempted to make a clone of the game Arkanoid in Scorpion Engine, so that's a game like Breakout where there's a ball and a paddle and you have to break down a wall of bricks. Very different to the sorts of games that, like platformers or shooters that Scorpion is normally used for. This is not going to be entirely from scratch. We've got some art from. I hope I'm going to do an okay job pronouncing this name. Matthias Jackish, also known as Classic Gamer 76. So he has provided me some art, which we will have a look at soon. So I'm going to. I'm just going to call the project Scorpionoid for now until we've got a official name on it. So, very first thing we need to do is create a new Scorpion project. This isn't really going to be a tutorial. It's more. I am going to be making a game from scratch, but this is going to be thinking outside the box quite a bit. I may start implementing something one way and then completely change my mind and do it a very different way. So not really a beginner tutorial, but hopefully hopefully of interest at least to Scorpion Engine developers. Oh, okay, looks like I've got a spam bot. Let me just how do I get rid of it? Okay, let's report him. Report it. It is spam. Okay, right. So we've gone to create a new project. I'm going to save it in my Scorpionoid folder. The very first thing we've got is we've got the default palette here. We don't actually want the default palette for this project. Oh, hang on, that's weird. Okay, so oh no, it is one of these. Okay, yep. So right, so that so we've got a layers file of all of the layers that we need to add to the game, but I'm not going to use it just yet. I just want to open the palette file that's been provided, so all of the colors are in a single palette. I'm just going to check. Let's have a look. So how many colors do we have? It should be just underneath 32. Yep, 29. That's good. We're going to change that to 256 color mode. The reason why we changed to 256 color is because we need a 256 color PNG. So I'm just going to do that. Oops. Oh, that's weird. Did I... Okay, I'm going to go nearest color. Yeah, I don't know why it tried to do dithering when there's not even that many colors anyway. Oh, that did seem to change the colors a little bit. I wonder... Okay, I'm just going to... Well, hopefully it's close enough. If it changed them slightly, I hope it didn't change them, but we can always fix that later. So I'm going to overwrite our Amiga OCS palette. We might as well make this as an OCS game. We can see all our colors are changed. So that gives us our palette, but we need a level, obviously, otherwise we can't show anything on screen. So, and to make a level, make a map, we need a tile set. So we're going to create a tile set first, and we're just going to use our the tile set image that's provided. I'm going to make a maps folder, and I'll save the tile set in there. So I'm just going to call it. I will just call it tile set. And we can preview our tile set. That's looking good. So yeah, all of the layers are on. Well, yeah. So all of the layers are separate. And let's make our new map. So I'm just going to call this. Oh, I have to select the tile set from the map. I've already created a tile set, and I'm just going to call this map 1. Okay, so I believe the tile set is, well, how big is it? So that's, I believe that's 320 by 256. How many is that in tiles? I should know this. I think 320 divided by 16 is 20, which it is. So 20 by 16, that's a full screen Amiga screen. And let's delete. I'm going to just delete all the layers and then create them one by one. So black background. Now we can name them anything we want. It's only if we want some sort of like foreground overlay, we would call it something like, we would call it foreground. Okay, level BG. So I'll grab the next layer and paste that in. Is that right? That looks right. Perfect. Level BG2. Let's grab that layer. So I'm just going to paste in all of these layers to begin with, so that, oops, I think I was supposed to go over one more. Doesn't really matter because it was empty anyway. Okay, then we've got UI1. So let's put that on another layer. UI2. Now I'm probably going to have to use, I will use block logic at some point to actually change the score. I don't know if I'll do that in this stream. It kind of looks like it. Maybe a little bit difficult because we don't really have anything for UI on something that isn't a panel, but we can come back to that later. The next layer is a shadow layer. I don't actually know if the shadow. I don't know if I'll actually do the shadows tonight. Maybe in a follow-up stream. I'm not actually sure if I've got the right alignment there. Well, I'll add that in anyway, and then let's grab this last one. Yeah, okay, alright, so it looks like shadows were aligned anyway. Oh, I don't want to put that on that layer, I want a new layer, so I'm just going to call this playfield, I guess. Put that in. Shadows, I'm just going to temporarily put way to the back, just because of logical complications in implementing them. So what we've got here is a basic level. We don't actually have any movement or anything. Some of these, like the player block, we don't actually need or want that. but we'll just see if we can get the level displayed. Just get it running. So I'm going to go level and then load level, and I just want that one. I need to make sure that our resolution is correct. So if I go display, should be able to set the Y resolution to 256, and then the X resolution, which we set in the project panel, that is going to be 320 wide by 0 pixels right. So far that's looking alright. We just want to make sure that it actually opens. Okay, so yeah, we are running the we're running the level. There's obviously no interactivity, nothing here that we can actually do, but we will work on the next. So the first thing we will do is we'll edit our map, and let's take out, should be able to just erase our player and the ball. Now I will need to get those out of the tile set. So if I go edit tile set image, I might as well do the might as well add the shadow here on our paddle. So let's just grab, where is it? There we go. So that's the shadow for the paddle. Let's just combine that into one image. Yeah, I think that's right there. So we've got a paddle. I'm going to put that. Let's add a new animations folder. Animations, and I'll just call this paddle. So I want to go to create an animation. Let's paddle. Oh, we'll call a paddle because A for short for animation, because we need to give it a different name than an actual actor. So that's looking good. Let's add a new actor. Let's paddle the actor, and I am going to add in animation. Let's just check the collision box. It makes sense if the collision box actually covers the entire paddle. Yeah, why not? Okay. Okay, well that's looking. That should work. We should be able to just add that to the map now. I'll add a new layer for, we'll just call it objects. And I'll put that there. I don't know if that's how close that is to the original alignment, but that's something we can tweak later. Just make sure it runs. Oh. Morning, Emitin. Is it any better now? I did have a fan running next to me. I don't know if it if that was what's coming through or it's something else. Okay. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't get too hot with the fan off. But anyway, so Yeah, I'm looking at making a Arkanoid type game in Scorpion Engine. I've never done anything like that in Scorpion Engine. I don't know if anybody has, but we're seeing if uh, yeah, we're just seeing if we can get the concept to work. And welcome to the chat, Arena Xeon. Right, so we've got the actor loading, but we can't really move it. So let's. What I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to make it a control mouse. So hopefully we'll be able to move it around with the mouse, which we can, but this is not at all like. I mean, I guess it'd be kind of interesting if there was an Arkanoid game where you could move the paddle up and down or off the screen to the side panel, but it's not really at all what we want. We do want to be able to use the actual mouse to. We do want to be able to use the mouse to drive the pedal, though. We just don't want it to move up or down or outside of the screen, so we're going to need to write some custom logic for that. So I'm going to make a animation, and I'm going to call this a invisible. And let's we're just going to add the blank image. Welcome, Mixel's Lab. Yeah, I wasn't really planning to do anything fancy. Like, I think I would just have it so that if a ball collides with something, then it basically mirrors the direction. Although it might be a bit painful trying to work out, like, if it hits something on top and so it should bounce downwards, or if it hits something from the side and so it should keep going upwards but reverse the left direction. I guess just one thing at a time. Hello, Zupadan. Welcome to the chat. Okay, so I've created an invisible animation. I'm going to create an invisible actor. Or I'm just going to call this cursor.actor. And that is going to be control mouse. I'm going to get rid of the player tag, but I want to make sure. Okay, so I'm going to change that to just a CPU type, because the CPU will be driving the pedal. But I'm going to tag that as player because we want player collisions. We don't want camera follow. We do want spawn to start because we want spawn to start on that as well. Might look weird if I add that. Oh, whoops! I have to add an animation. So add that invisible animation. Let's see if I can add it to the map. Okay, so that was cursor, so that's actually invisible. Okay, so now I need to add some custom logic for the for a cursor. So let's make a new code folder. I'm going to shove my startup into there, and let's call this Jupidan says, I don't think there are much actual physics involved in inverting velocity around block normal with some randomness, perhaps. Yeah, I'm probably going to see if I can do like the most simple physics possible. The one really tricky thing might be because I do realize the ball bounces at an angle off the paddle depending how far from the middle. Like, I think normally if you manage to bounce the ball like right in the middle of the panel, it just goes straight up and down. But if you bounce it at the edge, then it bounces at an extreme angle. That will be a little bit tricky, but I'm hoping not too tricky. So I'm going to call this new code block cursor handler. And then on the cursor, I'm going to set the on timer expired to cursor handler. The timer frames are 0. So this is going to run every frame. And all I want to do is I want to set the player position to the actor X position. So let's see what happens. Yep. Okay, so that's working. I can't move it up and down. I can move it left or right. Yeah, no, there's no problem with that other than, the edge goes off the edge. I don't want it to go off the edge. The art is by Classic Gamer 76. I hope I'm pronouncing his name okay. Matthias Jakish. And so he provided this art to be used to see if we can make a Arkanoid game, Scorpion. So anyway, the next step is obviously we don't want the panel to go outside of the screen at all. So I need to add some logic in here. So I need to go. Actually, let's add a new variable. Let's call this position. Thank you very much, Amantin. It's very kind of you. So we're gonna step through. Oh, Super Meat Boy. No, nice. Man, it would be amazing to have something like Super Meat Boy on Amiga. Okay, so we want to set the position to actor X. And then if we want to say if position is less than, let's take a guess, 48. We can tweak these values a bit, but this is just basically to set the borders. Sorry, not to set the borders. This is to make sure that the paddle doesn't go off screen. This code I might need to tweak a little bit. So I'm just saying if the position is less than 48 pixels, then set the position to 48. But also add a else condition, which is just, sorry, there should be else if position is greater than, what's that? So 13. Whatever 13 times 16 is. I should know this. But, yeah, 208. So if position is greater than 208, as Zupadan says, I'm working on a project in Scorpion, but it's progressing very slowly. Looking forward to seeing that. Mixerlab says the Amiga needs a Super Meat Boy and a cave story. Yeah, absolutely. I vaguely remember. I might have to look it up again, but there was a Backbone game that was somewhat like Super Meat Boy, and it was actually based on an old Flash game, but Backbone being Backbone, it wasn't a terribly accurate port, and it had things like for instance, it had scrolling, whereas the original game was a flip screen game, and that was just because Backbone didn't have any option for flip screen. I keep every now and then I think maybe I should look into that original game, see if we could make like a really faithful port of it. It wasn't a very long game, but it was sort of a very short Metroidvania type game where you had you couldn't get to a certain bit until you had the long jump or the triple jump. Okay, so getting back to this, so if it's greater than 208, we need to set the position to 208. These are things that we're going to need to tweak, probably, depending how far it goes out the screen. Though again, I suppose it's since this is just sort of rapid prototyping to get it going, we can always tweak these things later. Oh, okay, so that basically looks spot on. I can't I can't really go outside the screen. There is one thing that I might have to come back to and fix later. Is like for instance, if I go right to the edge of the screen and keep moving the mouse, and then I start moving back, it takes some time to move back onto the screen, and that's because the invisible cursor that's driving this goes off the screen. It goes way off the screen, and so I have to start moving the mouse back slowly to be able to get. So, well, long story short, it basically sticks a little bit to the edge. So that's another one of these polishy things we need to fix. Welcome to the chat, Classic Gamer 76. So, Classic Gamer 76 is the artist that created all this art for this Arkanoid clone. One thing I will mention is that the original art had shadows on the blocks. I wasn't going to look at doing that for this stream. Maybe for a future stream, we want to look at doing the shadows. It's just the complicated thing about the shadows is that they're not quite aligned to the blocks that the tiles that the blocks are on, and we still need to solve the problem of how do we delete the individual blocks, especially since these blocks here, they are not 16 by 16 blocks, which Scorpion expects. They're 16 by 8 blocks, so we need to use some tricks. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to let's add the ball to the game. Just going to make that a little bit bigger. Let's paste that as a new image. Oh, I'll just mention I'm using Paint Shop Pro because that's what I've always used, but you could basically use any package you want. I think most people who work on Scorpion use Sprite. Not quite sure how to pronounce that, but I don't know of anyone else that actually uses Paint Shop Pro like I do for Scorpion projects. Okay, so we've got our paddle, we've got our ball. Classic Gamer 76 is Sprite is easy to use for pixel art. I absolutely believe that. I'm unfortunately not a pixel artist. I only really can basically just do art hacks. There are a couple of reasons why I quite like Paint Shop Pro in particular. One reason is it's a lot cheaper than Photoshop, and you don't need an ongoing subscription. But also, you've got some decent options for palettes. You can actually load and save Amiga IFF files. Although we don't need IFF files for Scorpion, they are quite useful for Amiga projects in general. I'm going to create an animation for the ball. And that's just that. I just need to create an actor for the ball. Hey Niso, welcome to the chat. It's good to see you. Okay, so let's make that a really small collision box. We may decide later. Actually, we want a bigger collision box. What else are we going to do? I'm going to change this all to bounce. Hopefully, the built-in Scorpion collision detection is going to be enough for. Sorry, I was about to say. Hopefully, the built-in Scorpion engine collision detection is going to be enough for this Arkanoid clone. In hindsight, it probably isn't because we have to work around this 16x8 blocks, but their built-in collision detection will be okay just to get started. So if we go back to our map and go to our tile set, in fact, I should edit the tile set. Let's make all of these blocks solid tiles, so the ball can't pass through them. So I'm just going to go as solid. Okay. So I'm just going to go. I'm just going to set the speed in all directions to 1. I don't know if that's. That might be too fast. It's probably not fast enough. Oh, and I should set the animation for every direction. So we've got our ball. It will bounce off things and then it will go off the map and be gone. I believe in Arkanoid you can generally launch it, so it sort of sticks to the pad to begin with, and then you launch it off. But to start with, I'm just going to have it automatically launch. What is Rena? What is lurk? Okay. So you can see it's actually looking okay so far as it's bouncing off things. It's not bouncing off the blocks, but I have to deal with that. What should happen is when it goes off the screen, it should disappear. So I am going to let's go to the map, and I'm going to turn off the solid. Oh, solid bottom is off. So if I run it now, the ball should bounce off all the corners, and then it should be gone. My pedal is not going to stop it. Okay, yep, that's fine. That's what I expected. So we need to add some collision detection between the ball and the cursor. Sorry, not the ball and the cursor, the ball and the paddle. So let's add some code, which is ball hit paddle. And then I'm just going to say, well, if the actor y speed is greater than 0, so actor y speed greater than 0 just means it's moving downwards. we will say base set variable actor y speed is 0 minus actor y speed. And then so ball we want on collide with player, we want ball hits paddle. So again, this isn't actually how physics work in an Arkanoid game, because Arkanoid game it's supposed to bounce off in a direction, but we will come back to that. Just one step at a time. Is that going to bounce? Yep. Okay, so that looks reasonably good, but of course the problem is it should be bouncing off the bricks trying to destroy. So this is where things start to get, well, I mean, things already were quite complicated, but this is where things are going to get more complicated. I am going to create some new, I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to make it 256. Let's turn on our grid so we can see what it's doing. But basically we need to add a what we call a block in Scorpion. So a block is like a tile that's interactive, or can have code attached to it. Can have like custom collision logic. So we need to turn off snap to grid. Can I just make that square, and then I'll make that set. So that should be 16. Okay, that's good. So that will represent a half of a full block, and then this will be like a half, like the top 16 by 8, and then this will be the bottom 16 by 8. Amaten says you make this look easier, but it's not looking good so far. Yeah, so this is very much a like completely outside of the usual use case for Scorpion. So 90% of Scorpion games are platformers, and then just about all of the rest are shooters. So this is a so Arkanoid game is something that nobody's ever really tried to make in Scorpion before, and hopefully we can get something fairly decent. So we've got our new blocks image, and actually what I should have done is I should have deleted that background. So let's get rid of, I want to select by perceptual, get rid of that. Okay, so we've got a transparent background for the block, so it's not going to, in fact, can I alpha, maybe I can just alpha fade, I should alpha fade this as well. And obviously alpha fade is not going to work in the actual Scorpion game, but we're not actually going to literally show the block image. We're not actually going to show that red highlight in game. We are just going to use it for logic. So I'm going to set is invisible, so it can't be yeah. So if it is invisible, it can't be seen on the map, but we can still use it for logic. So let's start with that, and we'll put it on our objects layer. Yep. Okay. So transparent worked, and if we want to see what's underneath, we can just turn off that layer. That's looking good. What I should add next is just gonna this is a very roundabout way to get the color, but I've just taken a screenshot. I'm just going to grab that color, and then no, I don't want it to be transparent, because although the reason why these ones are transparent is because they are not literally shown in game. Actually, sorry, I think I mentioned before I was going to keep changing my mind about things. I do want to make a change here. Let's going to delete that again. So, in fact, I should going to delete those bottom two, not the top one, but because I do need to show when. What's that? That one, and then there. So basically, these blocks are going to be visible in game, these blue ones, and that's just going to cover up the bits that we've already destroyed. So if we go back to full block, I'm going to go place block properties. The full block should be solid. It's invisible. Replace tile properties, and then I'm going to add one. I'm going to add the opposite, which is going to be empty block. An empty block is going to be that. It's going to replace tile properties. It's not going to be invisible. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my ball. I'm going to flag this as a projectile. And the reason why flagged it as a projectile is because projectiles have certain collisions, like projectiles can collide with blocks, and that's what we need. So I'm going to add a new code block. I'm going to go ball hit full block, and I am going to go set block to empty block. So if I go and edit the map again, actually I don't need to edit the map. That should all be ready to go. It's going to look not that great because it's going to destroy an entire block when we only really want to destroy half of a block. But hopefully we can come back to that. It's going to miss them completely, so I need to bounce that. Let's have a look. Okay, so bounced off. It is bouncing off. It didn't seem to actually destroy the block. Maybe I didn't set the code for it. So if I go to... Yeah, so that was it. So I need to go to full block, and on projectile hit, I need to go ball hit full block. Let's try that again. Oh. Okay, now that wasn't what I expected because I have got it set to bounce. but because it actually destroys the block, it doesn't actually. It cuts through the block. So I will need to do something. Um, actually, maybe I should do completely custom logic. Yeah, I think I need to do some custom collision logic anyway. So on projectile head is not going to work, and so I don't even really need that to be projectile. What I will need to do is I'll need to. In fact, I'll delete. I should delete that code. That's just not needed. Okay. Yeah, let's delete that whole code block, and I'm going to add a new code, and this is going to be ball. Sounds dodgy. Ball handler. All right. Okay, so in my ball handler, I'm going to have that run every frame. I'm going to need to do collision detection based on whether it's going up or down. I'm just going to have um, so if uh, actor y speed is greater than 0, then I make a note here. Collide with blocks underneath. I'm just being else. I want to collide with blocks above. So we want to level. Can we get the block at get blocked by pixel? Okay, so um, um, collision block, and so we want to get it at the actor X, and then how big is that collision box? I've set it. Okay, so 4. So if I go actor Y plus 4, if it's colliding with blocks above, then we want actor minus 4. Okay, so we need to do a condition, which is if so we've got our collision block, and if it equals the full block, then we want to do um, uh, oh, actually, no, this is going to be a mess. Let's get rid of that. I should instead, I should set the um, wait, is there a okay, so changing my mind about how to do something, I'm just going to go and set variable block x. So that is going to be actor x divided by 16, and then the same for block Y. Except we need to do this actor x minus 4 plus 4. Actually, it really should be just plus 2 because 4 is the total height of the collision box. We only want half of that, so that will do. Greater than 0, 0. And then we'll just do a condition which is if block type, because we've set our block X and blocks Y, that block type will tell us what kind of block we actually collided with. So I'm just going to say, well, if it equals the full block, then we want to set, not set, we want to set the current block to, not to none, we want to change it to empty block. Okay, so that's a little convoluted, but basically we've got this thing called a block pointer, which is, it basically allows us to get data or set data about a particular block. We've set it to the actor X position and then the actor Y position plus 2 if it's going down, or minus 2 if it's going up. And if it's a full block, we want to change it to empty block. We also want to flip the actor Y speed. Now, I forgot we had this angle property. That's going to be quite useful, actually. I'll come back to that. I just want to go... I just want to set the variable. So if I go set variable, and I'm going to go actor Y speed, and it's just going to be 0, 0 minus actor Y speed. So that should make it bounce on Y. So let's see what happens. Oh, okay, no, that wasn't what I expected at all. It basically, yeah, okay, so it seems to be hitting things way outside. There must be some problem with my logic. Of course, that's should be actor Y. One thing also to note is Scorpion Engine doesn't really do bed mass, so that expression is in that order, whereas if it was using bed mass, then that bit there would maybe mess it up. Hi Dom Kid, welcome to the chat. I still need to play new games, Maria Reinhardt's Revenge and Rick Dangerous. I'll do that on stream sometime. Okay, so it actually... Okay, yep. So, alright, so it's kind of what we expected. It's when it hits from the side, it's not really destroying them, but... Oh, now that should have actually... Oh, okay. It's probably because I've got this set as solid. I'm going to go not solid because we don't want to use the built-in Scorpion logic. We only want to use our own custom logic. And let's see what happens. Okay, so I just sort of went through Oh, maybe it was because it hit on. Did it hit on? Was it because it hit on the side? Let's see what happens when it hits from the top. Okay, so sometimes it's basically working. I think it's just yes, was it not? Might have been hit from the side. It didn't really work, which is okay because we haven't really got logic for side hits. But we have got something, and it is kind of working. We do want to make it. This is going to be a bit of a rough and nasty hack, but let's take into account the actor's X speed as well. So yeah, I think this collision logic isn't going to work that well, but it might be just enough for this, just for the starting point for this tech demo that we can then come back later and tweak it. How wide is the ball? Okay, so the width of the ball is 6 pixels, so I'm going to make it so that it does 3 on each side. So I'm going to set the block X to actor X minus 3. And that should be collide blocks right. Just gonna run this and see what happens. I think there might some weird things might. Oh, actually, yes, I know. There is a weird thing that's going to happen, and that of course I've only set it to collide left and right. Yeah, now that was sorry. I've only really set it to handle up and down collisions. It should have bounced right when it hit it from the side. Instead, it sort of dug through it, and that's sort of what we expected. And I'll need to do some handling for that to basically say, well, we want to make it bounce back. Depending on where the block is relative to where we are. Now, how am I going to handle that? Yeah, okay, so let's add some more conditions in here. So, oh, in fact, I'm gonna make a whole new code block for. I'm gonna call this ball bounce, and I'm gonna need to make it. The reason why I'm making this a separate code block is so that I can reuse this code in multiple places and not have to rewrite it every time. I'm just gonna go if actor X divided by 16 is less than block X, and I'm just going to go collided with and I'll add another condition, which is just actor X speed is less than, no, if it's greater than 0. So I'm just going to make a note, collided with a block to the right. And I'm going to go actor, no, base. I just want to set the variable directly. Set variable, which will be actor X speed. Just be 0 minus actor X speed. So I'm going to copy that all again. I'm just going to make it if it's greater than. Okay, Nisa says, Eric, since I'm not asking for new features for a while, can you change that comments are written like // or yeah, okay, so that makes sense. So I really should have like instead of it with a I should have like // collided with the block to the right so that it's essentially the same as every other programming language has either double slash or a slash and an asterisk to say this is a comment block. But anyway, so we collided with the block to the left. So we've got our up and down, we've got a left and right logic. Well, it's there. I don't know that it's working, but we will find out soon. We need so left and right. We need to set the do the same thing for the y. So if it's less than block y and it's going greater than 0, we collided with a block underneath, and then we want to flip the actor y speed. Leave that. Just copy and paste that there. Let's collide with the block above. So that would be if actor y is greater than block y, and if actor y speed is less than 0. Okay, I hope that's going to work. So let's do that conditional. So we want to, not conditional. We want to go base and then go to, and then we want to go to our custom collision ball bounce. I don't want that to be disabled. And let's see what this is like. I don't know if it's going to be any good, but we'll find out. Okay, kind of. Probably from that angle, it's not going to easily. Is it going to hit something from the side? Yeah. Okay, so that kind of looked all right. I think maybe at certain angles it's not really going to work because logic is a little bit dodgy, but yeah, so it's kind of working. I think. Let's have a look. Okay, so so there's two things left to fix. One is obviously at least two things to fix, but there's two obvious things that we need to fix. One is that we're not able to destroy these half blocks, so we need to do that next. And the ball, when it hits the paddle, it shouldn't just reflect, it should go off on an angle depending on where we hit. So I'm going to change this ball so that it goes straight up to begin with, so it will bounce. But just make sure that's working. But I assume it's just going to bounce up and down. We actually want it to bounce off to the side. Okay, yeah, so that's all right, but obviously it's just going to bounce constantly up and down. We need it to go left and right. So let's we've got this ball ball hit paddle, and I'm just going to completely throw out that logic and write some new logic. So we've got our actor and then set speed, and I'm going to go -1. A scale of 1. I'm just going to check that still works. One thing I like to do is if I make even a tiny change, I just make sure that it works as expected before going on, because otherwise, if I keep making changes, then and the simple thing from before wasn't working, then it might take a while to go back and work out what the problem was. But that's working as expected. The problem is it's not like if like right here, it should just bounce off the edge, which it doesn't. So we need to go. Our angle is going to be I'm not sure this is going to work, but I'm just going to see what happens. Oh, now that's a that's a bug. That angle should be showing in the comment, but well, not in the comment, in the description. But I'll always fix that later. Let's see if it bounces at an angle. It might bounce at the wrong angle. It might bounce too far. But we'll see what happens. No? Okay, maybe I didn't finish the angle function. That makes things a bit awkward. But not... yeah, okay, maybe I just didn't finish... I thought I did. Okay, so this angle function, I thought I had this working. It doesn't actually look like it's working. That should have put it at an angle. Ball hit paddle. Just going to try something like 45, just make it shoot off to the side or something like that. If that doesn't work, it's not the end of the world. We just need to... yeah, okay, so I'm going to... Oh, that's embarrassing. So for some reason that isn't working, but fix that later. So let's do some math. So if we rotate a value by the direction and put the value into two expressions, so let's go let's go rotated x and rotated y, and then I'm going to go negative. I'm going to go negative 10 to start with, and then the angle is going to be player x minus actor x again, and then put it into those two variables. So we've got rotated x, rotated y. Now, can I use that function I was using before, the actor set speed, and so if I set x speed, so the fraction will be 0.1, and then I'm going to multiply that by my rotated x. And I have to do that separately for y, I think. I don't know that this is going to work. Hopefully it is, otherwise I need to make an even more complicated approach to setting the speed to a fractional value. Oh. Whoa. Okay, that just completely killed it. Oh, okay, that was really weird. I don't know where it went. It just gone. So what did I... Negative 10 by that, so that should put those values in there. If I make that value much smaller... Good afternoon, Retro Hitch. I'm just dealing with some weird bugs in my own engine with some fairly complicated stuff. Oh, okay. I saw it fly off to the side, so that's something. I don't know why. Player X minus actor X. Just gonna try that. So what? Yeah. So it flew. So it flew off the bottom. Oh, should I have had? Yeah, I should have had 0 in there. What was the other one? So that was get a. No, I don't want the angle command. 0, 10. I'll just try that just in case that was the issue. Well, okay, we might be onto something. So I'm gonna let's put that back to 0.1. Okay, so I probably should have something in the Scorpion engine that says if you haven't set both the x and the y value on that function, then it won't compile. But I haven't done that yet. So what's going to happen now? Okay, so it looks like it bounced off to the side. Whoop! And then it went haywire when it collided the block, which is okay. Well, I mean, it's not great, but we'll work out why. Also, looks like I might have got the direction around the wrong way because that should have gone in the other direction. I don't know why it just suddenly shoots it downwards, but probably something to do. Oh, yeah, it'll be something to do with the fact that it's a fractional speed. Okay, so I need to do some fixes here. So I think I should have done actor X minus player X. Yeah, it's a bit weird that it's just and that angle needs to be sharper as well. So I'm just going to try if I get that angle and then I just that times that by 3. What's it going to look like when it hits? Okay, so that's looking a bit better. So maybe it should be sharper than that. But it works generally. It's just this weird thing where it bounces, and that I sort of know why that is. I haven't quite thought of a solution, but basically, so we're only changing the 16-bit value. We should be changing the whole. I'm not sure this is going to work, but let's try set the fractional to active y speed fractional. Oops. um, And so let's bounce it off the edge. I probably wanted it as sharper angle than that even. It needs to be, closer to 40 or even more than 45 degrees, I think. Yeah, okay, so that didn't quite work as expected. Now you see yeah, so when it's bouncing off the top, it seemed to be okay. It was really just when it was bouncing from the bottom. And so that is a 16-bit number issue that I'll need to solve. Yeah, it's just when it's negative, I need to be a bit smarter about how I'm handling it. But anyway, so let's ball hit paddle. Let's make. I'm going to double that again to 6. So that should be a pretty extreme angle. How am I going to reverse the? Might need to use there y speed less than 0, so that's the. Oops. Yeah, okay, so the okay, I think I might have a solution, maybe not a great one. So I'm going to do that fractional again. Y speed fractional, y speed fractional. Let's do that again. Yeah, I really need to add like proper support for the fractional numbers in Scorpion Engine, which we'll do at some point. It's just sort of finding the time to do it. Oh, should that have been minus 1? Oh, oh no, because it's just going to freeze it if it's not Okay, so this is going to be a bit of a hack. I mean, this is all pretty hacky to be honest, but so I'm just going to go if actor y speed fractional is not 0, then you also want to actor y speed minus 1. And I'm just going to go special handling for fractional negative speed. And hopefully this is going to work. And if it does work, then I'll need to apply it to the X. If it doesn't, then I need to sit down and pencil and paper and work out. Oh, okay. Now that was. I think I've got it just a little bit too extreme with the. Whoops. Still. Okay, yeah, that looked like it might have been alright. It was just... Oh, no, still not great. What have I... What do I need to do? What can I do is just a rough hack. I guess I could try this. If I can just go conditional else. Ah. No, that's probably not going to work either. So I need to replicate 32-bit addition logic only using 16 bits, which is the problem. Although, yeah, it's, okay, now that looked okay, and that's only really working because we're using speeds less than, yeah, we're only using fractional speeds anyway. Or yeah, sorry, one is the top speed. It's probably going to go haywire, yeah, off the side because that's the same problem. But I can fix that. Yeah, okay, so let's apply that to here. So if it's less than 0, and I just need to go condition if and I'll need to, okay, so I need to fix that first. So actor x speed fractional should be fractional, so that looks okay. And I need to go if actor x speed fractional is not 0, then addition else speed fractional. No, it's still a bit weird. Oh well. Well, I might have to give up for the night. Yeah, and it drilled through 2 blocks, or it should have just bounced off the first one, so I've got all sorts of collision problems. Oh, yeah, I think this is probably a good place to leave it for the night. It's still a bit broken. Again, this is well outside of what Scorpion was ever designed to do, but despite the problems with the bouncing, I was fairly happy with what we managed to achieve. I almost wonder if we could rotate it X and Y. We could maybe use this angle value to work out what basically copy this logic here. In fact, I'm going to do that. It's going to be a bit rough, but let's do that. Why? I just need to make sure that condition if rotated x is less than 0, then we need to flip that value. So let's go space set variable, which is rotated 0 minus rotated x. I need to do the opposite of that here. It's greater than 0. So just making, so we're still using our fractional values from when we hit the ball. We're just making sure that it's bouncing it in the correct direction. Again, it's a really hacky way of doing this, but it's about all we can do in this version of Scorpion Engine. In future, we'll have improvements for fractional values and things that will make this easier. Oh, no, that was already okay. So, now that needs to be if it's less than 0, and then that needs to be if it's greater than 0. Don't know if that's going to work, but we'll see what happens. And I might put that ball speed up because it's just sort of too painful watching it go that slow. Oh. Actually, I know why that is. It's because we did not. It's supposed to hit the bat to begin with. So let's make sure it hits the bat so that it correctly sets those variables. Whoops. Because the bat wasn't even in the right place because the cursor being in the middle of the screen. So let's edit this a bit. I am going to put the ball way up so I've got a chance to actually hit it before it goes off screen. Again, I really should have it launching from the cursor, but I can fix that in a later update. Okay, so far so good. What's it going to look like when it actually hits something? Oh, it just goes through it. It doesn't even bounce. And why is that? What did I do? Did I do wrong? Yeah, it's just going through. It's not even reversing speed, is it? Did I get that logic wrong? Oh, of course I got that logic wrong, because I want it to go in the... I want to reverse the direction. I don't want to... I don't want it to keep going in that direction, so that's that problem. Niso game says you already implemented the power up basically. Yeah. Okay, no, that's looking good. Again, a very hacky way of doing it, but it's working. Or at least it was working from the bottom. Maybe did I do something wrong on the top? Acid Bottle says count the ball rest on the bat and then randomly launch in the direction when button pressed. Yeah, I mean that's the intention. I just haven't implemented that yet. Okay, so that was mostly working. But I think I've got a bug where it's not working from. Yeah, it's not working from the top. Did I forget to flip that? Okay, so collide with the block underneath. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. So vector y. Okay, so it's less than block y. If y space is greater than 0, if that is, then that should rotated y equals 0 minus rotated y. So that should flip that value. Don't understand why it would work for. It seems to work for all the other values, just not that one. So I'm going to make a quick tweak. I'm just going to make that times 5. I just thought the angles were a little bit too extreme. Yeah, I think that's a more natural amount. But what's it going to... So it's going to... Yeah, it just doesn't seem to... like it when it's from the top. Oh, wait. Wait a minute. X speed. Oh no, that's... Oh, maybe it's just... Okay, I think I know what the problem is. Because this rotated Y is always going to be negative. Because when it bounces off the ball, it goes upwards. So I can make some tidy ups here. This will be... Just delete a bunch of code, and then I just need to tweak it so that if it's greater than 0, then we will set that to negative 0.1 scale of rotated y. Oops, I didn't name that very well. I'll make it bounce off the side there. No, that wasn't quite right either. It should have... Oh, did I get that logic around the wrong way again? Yeah, I think I got that around the wrong way, because that rotated y is going to be negative anyway. Trying that. Yeah, it's one of these things where when you're on stream, you can't always think straight. There's probably really simple solution to all this. Okay, now that should have bounced. Okay, so yeah, it's the same thing. So it's so I'm guessing up and down is going to be fine. It's just if I hit it from, was it the left side or the right side? I really need to make that faster. Maybe make it faster. You know, the more you hit it. I wasn't sure if, like in the original game, if it gets faster if you. I wasn't sure if it gets faster if you break more blocks, or if it's just time, or just how often you hit it, or if it doesn't get faster in a level. I'm not quite sure. Okay. I might make a couple more tweaks here. I'll make this one absolute x and absolute y, and I'm just going to go condition if rotated x is greater than 0, then we want set variable. So we're going to get the positive value of our rotation. We're going to just set it absolute x to rotated x, else set rotated position, absolute x to rotated x minus 0 minus rotated x, so that the absolute value should always be positive. I probably should add a function in that just makes a variable absolute, like most languages have. And then I just need to get rid of all that. So if y speed is greater than 0, then I want to make it negative. And then I'll use absolute x. I am going to go positive absolute x. And then if speed is greater than 0, so that should be absolute, and that will be greater than 0, absolute y, that will be negative, and then this will be positive. Classic Gamer 76 says, good idea to make it faster if less stones on the playfield left. Nisa Game says, if I remember correctly, the ball gets faster depending on how angled it impacts with the paddle, so closer to centre, slower, closer to corners, it was faster. Now, that's interesting. I think I got an idea of how they might have done that. So it's probably something like the up and down speed is a constant, but the left and right speed gets faster or slower depending, what the angle is. I probably should spend some time playing Arkanoid, so I've got a better idea of it. But at the moment, this is implemented just shooting off at an angle, so the total speed is constant, not just the up and down speed. Okay, so it's great. It's 1, it's 0. Oh, and that should be absolute y. Okay, is this going to be any better? Okay, so far so good. I'll just try hitting it at a extreme angle. Yeah, I think it would have made much more sense to have the up and down speed constant. That would also make some of this logic so much easier. But in any case, I solved, in a very hacky way, I managed to solve the issue of making bounce up and down, it seems. So, except it did not work. Anyway, I thought it was going to work. So, if it's going that way, -1 scale by absolute x. So, factor. Seems to be this way. Um, yeah, so what have I done wrong here? So if speed is greater than 0, then I want to set it to absolute x is negative 0.x. Maybe there's an issue with setting the x speed? Maybe? Might need to dig into the Scorpion Engine source code to work out what's going wrong. It's possible that I haven't actually written any bad code here. It's just the engine itself has some issues that I need to iron out. Again, these commands don't get really used. These commands are fairly new and they haven't really been used that much, so it's possible there's some issues that I've missed. But then again, I don't understand why this works if... Just curious if I just set that to 1. Wonder what's going to happen if I hit it from the side. Oh, now from the top it didn't bounce. And then that one, it deflected. Let's just try nudging it. Oh, straight up and down almost. So I'll just nudge it to the left a little bit. Not very good at aiming it. Okay, so... God, I'm terrible at aiming it. Oh, that was weird. It just sort of went through it from the side. Yeah, maybe it's not working if it's... Yeah, I don't know why it's not working. I will tidy some of this stuff up as well, so I'll get rid of... No, I'll leave that alone. For some reason the bouncing isn't working, but I'll make some... I'll add our partial blocks in. See if I can at least get some of the partial block stuff working. So I'm going to call this block top. And then that is just going to be that one. And block bottom. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see that there's. Turn off the background, and then so that's to say we've got this top and bottom logic. I'll need to calculate the why so. Block x times 16. Oh, actually, I don't need that. I just need to set the offset y. If I go actor y and 16, or mod 16 divided by 2, then that should give me. Oh, actually, I don't even need to go divided by 2. I just need to do that. Then that will tell me where on the block approximately where on the block the ball is. And I should make it more specific to. So it basically just tells me if it's going to be the top half or the bottom half of the block we're actually colliding with. And then I'll need to go, well, condition if offset y is greater than 8. It should be conditional, and then else to block top or block bottom. Just going to give it a quick try to begin with. It's not going to fully work, but it should at least for the. Hopefully, it will just let us destroy the bottom of the block. Yep. So instead of destroying the entire, 16 by 16 area, it's let us destroy an 8 by 8 area. But it's not going to work for blocks that are already half destroyed, so we need to add an else if block equals block top greater than 8 should be less than or equal to 8, then we change the current block to empty block. So that's if we've hit the top half of the block. Otherwise, if we hit the bottom half, then that offset y needs to be greater than 8. Oh, and what did I... Oh, did not spell that correctly. Oh, and have I got... I haven't got the ball bounce in there, so I need to have the ball bounce in for... yeah, sides. Okay, so it's kind of working. It's just the bounce logic is not very good. For some reason, that didn't. Looks like it sort of bounced off something that wasn't even there. Oh, and actually, I know why that is. Or I think I know why that is. Now, that ball bounce should only happen if we actually collide with the half of a block that is destroyable. I'm going to make some quick changes to the ball bounce. I'm just going to get rid of that XP check just in case that's maybe it's not working for if it's yeah, maybe it just isn't working in some conditions, so I'll just make it if it's I'll see what happens now. No, so from the bottom it just doesn't. So from the bottom and from the right it's okay. Oh, no, it's working now. What? It didn't work before, or it didn't work just then actually. So it is acting a bit strange about the blocks that it does and doesn't go through. And that one, it didn't even. Maybe it was. Oh, it might have just been a little bit too far. I might need to adjust the collision volume. It might have just been slightly on the edge of it. I think part of the problem is I shouldn't. Like I'm still using Scorpion's built-in movement. I shouldn't really be using Scorpion's built-in movement. I should be using basically coding all the movement from scratch, and so that way I can test for collisions individually for both axes. I think what might be happening is when it's colliding on like a certain angle, then it's tearing through the blocks when it should be bouncing off them. Although that was weird, it sort of it seems to be like the second one. Oh, actually, I think I do know what the. Another issue is a collision. I think the reason why sometimes it tears through one block and then stops on the next one is it's not properly taking into account if the. Which side of the top and bottom. So it's so since it's not properly taking into account if it hit the top side or the bottom side, it will tear through one. Then when it hits the other one, it bounces off. But I think, I really should leave it here for the night and go to bed. But fairly happy with what we managed to achieve in the space of a couple of hours. The movement logic really needs to be rewritten to use, not Scorpion's movement, but like just manually moving the X and the Y. I think also, as Niso mentioned, like the speed is a bit off because the up and down speed should be a constant, so we can fix that as well. Yeah. Okay, but conceptually we've got something that works. It's a bit buggy, but we do have an Arkanoid game in Scorpion engine, sort of. So that's it for now. Thanks for coming by. I hope that was interesting, and sorry about all the issues we ran into. I think I tried to be a little bit too clever, relying on Scorpion functions that are not really designed for this game. I really should have coded done a lot more with code blocks and sort of a lot less with this built-in speed functions. But that's I can deal with that on another stream. Actually, now one thing I usually do is I raid someone, whoever's streaming. It's usually Amiga Live. See if, and it will be Amiga Live again because I think hardly anybody's around at this time. So, thanks everyone for coming by.